guys, how are you? Happy Friday. It's Friday. Yeah. I put a poll on Twitter asking what you guys kind of wanted to see this week, and out of the options, story time is what was picked, so I'm going to be telling a story today. I can already tell now it's going to be really, really long, so sit back, grab a snack, and get ready for story time with Cat. Story time with Cat, yeah. I think this video is going to be a more serious video. Not that any of my others aren't serious or are serious. I don't even know. So if you came for a really funny story, Saz. I'm sorry. It's kind of uplifting at the end, but not. It's basically like, good things can happen out of bad situations. This one is really personal for me. It never really comes up in social situations, and it's just like a story I never really tell people because of the sheer amount of backstory it requires. Like, it takes too long. I don't want to explain it, I'm lazy, yeah, so I'm just gonna put the story up here and hope for the best. It's time to talk about my crazy, unreasonable math teacher. I couldn't think of the correct adjective to really describe this man. It's just baffling the way he is, I guess you could say, and you'll just kind of see. But before we get to the math teacher, it's time for the gigantic, necessary backstory to everything, so everything actually makes sense, so here we go. It all started my sophomore year of high school. My grandma, who lived in, like, our household and been with me my entire life, passed away. She was a very powerful woman who greatly impacted my life and helped me a lot, and I learned so much from her, and I dearly miss her and love her. And I don't want to dismiss anyone else's grief. Like, I know some people have it harder and have lost people, but I don't think grief's a competition anyway. So this was my first time kind of experiencing death really close to me. Like, I've seen it, but it's like not anyone in my vicinity, but it's like someone in my household who I lived with and saw every day of my life was just not there anymore. As I was already having existential crises, this didn't really help me. It made me ponder death a lot more often, and I didn't really get any work done. I became a useless blob. Just a blob, really. So I reached out, I mean, not really, but people kind of noticed, and I talked to some of my parents and teachers, and funny enough, not really funny, but fact, Triv, one of my teachers I had at the moment, my chemistry teacher, she was also the vice principal. Random, but I know. She kind of recommended I go on home hospital, which I don't know if they have that everywhere or if they call it that. It's basically where I could stay at home and someone would come out to the house and kind of tell me all the work I missed and help me through it. Kind of like a teacher that comes out and helps me, basically. This kind of sounded like an alright solution, even though I couldn't focus anywhere and I didn't really see how being at home would really changed my focus issues, but I guess it would help because kind of like going through the day was already was exhausting for me emotionally and just. But anyways, we put in the application to the school board, which we had to do to go on home hospital, and the person who was supposed to come out and give me my weeks of work never came. Ever. Great. It was really complicated though, like, don't come, like, we're gonna send someone out, and by the end of the 2 weeks, no one was sent out, and I was just going back to school anyways. So, fun. I tried to stay up to date online and talking to friends, but none of my friends didn't really have the same classes as me, and my teachers didn't really update their websites, which was problematic, but you know, oh well. So basically, long story short, I returned to school even further behind than I originally was. And fun note, I returned in the midst of finals, AP exams, you name it. It was that time of the year. We all know that time. Fun times. I actually somehow pulled my crap together and did really well on my AP exams, which if they're not from the US, I don't know if they have AP. It's kind of, I know they have IB other places. I don't know, it's complicated. It's basically like college level classes that you take in high school to get credits for college and university and blah blah blah. Anyways though, some classes had earlier deadlines than others, so logically I would do the work for the classes that had the closest deadlines. You would think that makes perfect sense. Wrong! I go to talk to my math teacher. Yep, there we are. I returned to my math teacher, who I never kind of understood to begin with. Not that I didn't understand the math or the actual, like, material of the class. It's him as a person I didn't understand. He would eat glue, and I don't know. There was rumors it was icing that he put in a glue bottle, which even so, it's like, why? Like, I understand it's probably not glue, but why just. He would also go on really irrelevant tangents instead of teaching a class, but you know, I'm going on tangents. Who am I to judge? It's not like I'm teaching people things they actually need to know in life. him. I go up to him. I was like, I got this in the bag. I got this. I'm walking up to him. He's the last, like, test I have to make up. Cause he's all about the test. He had, like, weekly tests and, like, sometimes pop quizzes every day, and I missed a bunch of them, and he had the latest deadline, so he was the last subject I was going to make up. I, like, schedule a time. I come after class. I ask him when I can make up the test, and get this, I ask him when I can make up the test I missed when I was absent, and he laughs at me and says I can't. At that point, I was just in such utter disbelief, I almost started laughing too. Maybe laugh crying, because that's what I do in situations where I don't know how to react. I laugh cry, but not really. I actually just don't show emotions, but on the inside I'm like, what? As the deadline he said to make up his test wasn't for a few more days, so I had time. I had planned everything because I was like, if I'm somehow gonna get through this, I need to plan it, it was the most productive and anxiety-ridden time of my entire life. I mean, that's a stretch, but it was a really stressful time for me. I was just confused. I voiced my concern, like, what do you mean? Like, your deadline is not for a few days, like, and these tests are mainly what your grade is in this class. I need to make up those if I want to pass this class. Even though I have an A, the sheer amount of tests I missed, not even that I failed tests, the ones I missed would fail me, even though I had an A in the class at the time. American education system, guys! It's great. But basically, he states it's not his fault I was absent. He had already given the tests back that I had missed to the students, because basically his logic was he gave the tests back and I could somehow get a hold of those tests and cheat, so I can't take the tests that everyone else took, but he doesn't want to go through the effort to make new tests. And at that point, I was like, so, so what are you saying I'm supposed to do? Like, I'm not just gonna, like, fail, am I? Like, is this, you can't, whoa, mate, like, is this a joke? Okay, I'm pranked. Everyone come out now. This is really funny. Like, this is really fucked up. Like, what the fuck? I think the funny part is, like, the whole, he thinks I would go and find those tests. I'm extremely antisocial, and I don't make friends easily, and I don't have any friends in that class, because they were all older than me, and they were like, college, and they were all not the brightest people I've met. Not to be mean, I don't know all of them, they're probably great, but not the point. At that point, when I had no idea what to do, I asked him, like, how am I supposed to pass this class? What am I supposed to do now? And he's like, that's not my problem, and you think I'm exaggerating, but I'm honestly not exaggerating on this. The school board messed up and they didn't send me the work or the test I was supposed to take, but it's my fault. After that, I kept a straight face and I was like, oh yeah, I understand, which I'm like, I don't fucking understand anything. I'm getting really emotional. I didn't remember I had all this in me, but so at that point, I walk out. I later overhear him talking to a different student about how you don't fully understand something until you have to learn it a second time, meaning fail and then have to retake it. Because apparently, his actual words, these came out of his mouth. He failed math in university when he was, like, getting his math degree, and I'm like, and he's like, and then I retook it, and then I really understood it. And I don't think that's the philosophy you should have if you're teaching math, that you don't learn it until you have to take it a second time. Because I don't get that. Whatever. Weirdly enough, though, he was really easy on the seniors in my class, as the math level I was in at the time was the minimum level of math that you had to have passed to graduate, so I'm speculating there might have been favoritism, because it's like, that whole philosophy he had, you don't really learn something to the second time, is because I was a sophomore at the time, so I could retake it and still have time before I graduate. The girl he was talking to as well was, like, either a freshman or a junior, so she was basically anything but a senior like me, and he was telling her the exact kind of same thing, like, you don't really learn something until you have to take it again, and even though it's not that I didn't understand the concepts of the math class, it was that I couldn't take the quizzes and tests I had missed. After that encounter, I realized I still had the final in that math class left, and I felt if I could do well on that final, it would kind of prove or convince him I understood the concepts of the class and shouldn't fail. Like, even if I got a C, even though I originally had an A, like, I'd be okay with a C as long as I passed, I guess. I just want to pass, and I figured if I can do really well on this final, that would be enough to show that I obviously understand the math. So I thought it would prove that I understand the concepts as it's a comprehensive final, so you would think if I did well, I understand the class and shouldn't fail. I ended up doing really well on that final. I don't remember if I got an A- or a B+. I mean, it didn't really matter anyways, because I ended up going to summer school as he failed me, even though I did well on that comprehensive final of his. This has been the first time I've ever failed a class, because I'm just a nerd, and I pick up on things. Being the nerd that I was completely devastated for having to go to summer school and take a class I basically already knew, and I hate relearning things that I already grasp. You don't understand. Like, I'm one of those people that can't reread books because it's like, I've already read this, and it's like, I had to take a whole math class the entire summer of things I already understood. It was really hard to explain to my friends why I couldn't hang out on the weekdays because I would be at summer school, and they're like, what? What do you mean you're at summer school? You failed math, mate. Like, math is easy. Yes, I know it's easy! I did well! I can't. I have emotions about this that are being brought back to the surface, and now I'm really fired up. I'm sorry. Getting to the bloody point, Kat. What is the point of this really sad story of this unreasonable asshole of a teacher? Well, let me tell you, friends. Let me tell you. I met someone in summer school. I know, whoa, Kat, you met someone. That's great. But just take into account, I rarely initiate conversations because I'm just terrified of other people, and I'm like, if meh. And making friends is hard, so this was kind of a big deal to me, okay? I didn't know anyone in summer school, oddly enough, as most of my friends are all in AP classes as well and do exceedingly well in class, so none of my friends were there. So I was sitting alone, and I mean, that might sound sad, but for me, it was kind of ideal. I didn't want to put up with other people. I didn't want to be there. I was very bitter. Like, I mean, it was probably portrayed. I was like, I don't care how I look. I don't want to be here. I already understand these concepts. Like, this is a waste of my time, my energy, my summer, my life. I'm gonna cry. But not the point. So I met someone. This girl came in late, and she looks around, then she looks at me. I wasn't really paying attention. It was like when you're just kind of like staring, not really looking at anything, but you're just kind of like staring like, fuck my life. But yeah, she comes and sits next to me, and we actually became really good friends, which is weird. And I could go into detail of how it progressed and all this stuff, but this video is already way too long. I met Jackie. Never really met someone or become that fast of friends with someone, so this was crazy. I wasn't expecting to have any good experiences that summer. To this day, I'm amazed to have found someone extremely like me, and granted, I know some friends of mine are watching this right now, and don't feel weird because I love all of you guys, and so individuality is amazing, and it's really necessary and good to have a variety of friends, but I found someone who is exactly like me in really weird ways. Music taste, like really weird ass sense of humor. We like the same shows and books and basically anything and everything. But long story short, I would have never met Jackie if I hadn't had gone to summer school that year. And if Jackie wouldn't have chosen to sit next to this awkward kid in the back who looked bitter as hell, like, kill me, we wouldn't have talked either. So we would have never met, because she went to a completely different school than I did. She went to, like, a school that was far away from mine, and we would have never interacted. And I think there's so many instances where these kind of things happen. I never really believed things happen for a reason. And even now, I don't know that I really truly believe all of that. This event is something that makes me ponder that cliche a little. Even if I hadn't seen going to summer school as anything but going to a summery hell to learn something I already knew really well, I would have never expected to meet someone new. Someone who would impact my life in really a short amount of time. Because most of my friendships take a long time for me to make because of just how awkward and weird I am, but it's like, we just had so many things in common, it progressed really fast. Sometimes a lot of good things can happen out of really shitty situations. Partly because I struggle communicating with other humans. I never really believed that old saying, as I never really had a reason to, but I guess now I'm saying I kinda do. I'm glad it happened. Bye guys.